And we are live. So
hi, morning.
We'll just wait a bit, let you guys come in. I'm going to back up. So A, I don't look like a giant, and B, you can see this a bit better, but I won't be able to see.
I only just realised how beefy you look over
there. And B, so you can hear and see us better, but I won't be able to see who's sharing, talking, etc., etc. So if you're tuning in, hi.
Yeah, can you maybe just type and let us know whether you can hear us okay?
We've got a fancy microphone.
Little microphone for these sorts of podcasts and stuff. So
we're going to keep upgrading the studio as much as we can, really.
With bits that we find everywhere.
Here and there. Beg Steel Borough to make it happen. But can you guys hear us okay? We've got 2 live at the minute. Can you just type if you can hear us? Because the microphone, I could have set it up wrong. Anyone?
28 days later.
You should be picking it up. I imagine. I could have set it up wrong. Can you hear us, guys? Thank you. Get me coffee. Yeah, so if you can hear us, can you just type yes? That's all we need to know. We've just got this new microphone. Can you hear us?
Maybe they can't hear you, or
can you hear me?
I don't think they can hear.
Yes, you can hear us, Jane. Thanks for that. We were left in limbo then, guys.
Cheers, Kimmy. Hi, Kimmy.
Right, so this should mean it's a little bit better clarity. Fingers crossed. So we're going to be doing these sessions every Saturday, and it's going to be just a bit like on the mat. We're going to be doing like almost a podcast series. We're hoping with this we can get other yoga teachers involved in maybe doing some podcasts. So if you are available and you are a yoga teacher and you want to talk to us,
not even just a yoga teacher, actually, anybody who has got something, I don't know, that they want to share with people, maybe from the wellness industry in general, holistic
yeah, it could
industry.
be nutrition, holistic, anything. We're going to be doing interesting talks on Saturday morning for you guys at home to listen to, or on repeat. As we've said before, just go on our Facebook, scroll down, and it's all there to see a nice little array of videos we're forming. And the best part is they're all free for you to watch at your leisure, really. So it's just going to start. The ball has been rolling at a great speed. So I'm just going to introduce who we are, really, for the first one, and then Polly's going to go into a bit of yoga philosophy. So it's just going to be a little interview for now. So I just want to introduce Polly. She's the main face of North and Soul, the teacher. I'm Donny. I work in marketing. I've come from a nightclub industry, almost in a downward spiral to downward dog, you could say. So yeah, and I'm helping out behind the scenes. I quit my jobs at the start of December. Great timing, maybe. And now we work full time, self-employed with North and Soul. So that's my history, and I'm going to go into Polly's now. So what actually got you into yoga?
So I came into yoga in the first place for firstly for injuries. So I was climbing and running and basically doing quite a lot of long distance training and stuff like that. And I just got knee injuries and got all sorts of different body complaints, as you do when you're doing pounding the concrete roads. So I first came into it for physical things, and then...
So how long ago was that?
About 15 years ago.
15 years, cool.
I started working with yoga, and then in recent years, let's say, could it be 8 years ago now, I got into something called Kundalini yoga, which is my favorite style of yoga, which I'll always be pushing constantly, which helped with changing my whole life basically. So helped me with anxiety, really, really bad anxiety that I was suffering with, depression, OCD, very, very obsessive, intrusive, body dysmorphia, which was all very crippling. It stopped me from being able to go out the house properly like normal people would. Now it's just normal, you know. If I had it now, I'd be just sitting here. But
it's amazing, really, because on the outside, I've known you since we went to school together. And you never really know it, do you, on the outside? So.
No, not on the outside. I mean, on the outside, we're all fine, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? You put on a nice little juicy show for everybody, just so that you can fit into a member of society. And on the inside, nobody really knows what's going on. I think it's similar to social media nowadays. You know, on the outside, we're all putting out that we're something, and on the inside, we might be something completely different. So, my main journey of yoga was to come into a place of peace, which I've managed to prevail at most times. That's probably the wrong word. Managed to keep consistently at most times if I'm practicing my yoga. So I have to stay with the practice.
So you say you got into Kundalini. Let's go through it. How did it happen?
So actually, I moved to Vienna. And I'm just going to say hi to my Kundalini yoga teacher in Vienna, who really helped me get into it, actually. She's called Amy, and I can never pronounce your second name. So sorry. Is it Deccanum? If I've pronounced that right, I'm a star, because I can never pronounce anything right. But big up to her for introducing me to the practice in the first place. I got into Kundalini yoga in Vienna. I was advised by a therapist that I was going to that they don't think that I'm very good at listening at that time. So, and they thought it would be more beneficial for me if I went into something a little bit more active, that I was doing myself. So I'm a very big advocate for self-development, and I really enjoy moving the body. So he introduced me to Kundalini yoga, and I found a place in Vienna to go on Gumpendorfer Strasse, which was also drinking a lot of alcohol. So I basically started with Kundalini yoga. I was drinking all the way there, doing the yoga for 2 hours, drinking all the way back. And then eventually something shifted in my mindset, and I was drinking all the way there, doing the yoga, not drinking all the way back. And then eventually it came to a point where I wasn't drinking on the way and on the way back from yoga. That gives you a little insight into habits that can be formed and also can be replaced. So
if you're going to be missing the pubs and the restaurants and stuff, maybe get into Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini in itself, which is not a sales pitch for Kundalini yoga. Well, it sort of is, really, because it's probably saved my life. But Kundalini yoga helps to get rid of addiction. It helps to get rid of unhealthy habits. Okay, we work with Kundalini yoga to clear out the system of unhealthy habits and to take control of your own psyche.
Yeah, there've been some more famous, and then Russell Brand said it helped him with addiction, didn't it?
Yeah, he says it's like the crack cocaine of yoga, which I can't disagree with.
It can get trippy. That's why I'm there. I've done all the drugs that can
fun.
be done, and I like the natural highs.
Yeah, from a hedonistic point of view, Kundalini yoga is going to stimulate the same thing that LSD does. So yeah.
Anyway, we'll go. This is about yoga philosophy. So what is it you're going to talk to us about today?
I wanted to talk about different things each week. So what you don't see on the yoga mat. For example, if you're practicing yoga, it's not just the movement that we're working with here. The actual philosophy around the practice is really where yoga's hidden gems lie. What I want to talk to you about today is something called a parigraha, a word that actually, let's say it translates as something along the lines of non-greed or non-attachment. And I just thought this was quite fitting for the current climate that we're obviously in. So I want to talk about a parigraha as a quality or a concept of living, one of the concepts of living, and how we can sort of tap into this in our own daily life to help us feel better and be a better person, as well as how we can utilize it, or more so how it is apparent on the yoga mat. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about today. So shall I just talk about it?
Crack on.
Okay, so hopefully I'll keep some of you here, especially if you practice yoga, if you're a yoga practitioner, or even if you're coming into yoga. I think this is an important subject for you to understand, purely because, contrary to the fact that you're probably thinking yoga is about who's got the best leggings, the best ass, and the best butterfly in the garage. Again.
This guy loves it. We've actually got a mascot here. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so contrary to the fact that you're probably thinking yoga is a pose on Instagram that looks swanky, that's absolute bullshit. It's completely against what yoga is. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong with a beautiful posed picture. That's not what I'm coming from here. What I'm saying is, those who are coming into yoga, this is not what yoga is. Okay, these pictures on Instagram are just lovely pictures on Instagram, like a picture might be on Instagram. So, for example, it's a gymnastic move. Yeah. So, what I want to talk other side of yoga, what yoga really is. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about something called aparigraha, non-greed or non-attachment. And this word, or this sort of concept, is the last limb of Patanjali's 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga. And what these are concepts or qualities of living, let's call them ethos, in yoga, to help us live a happy and peaceful life, which also reflects out to others, obviously. And first, what I want to talk to you about is, obviously, in these times that we're actually living in the current climate, now everybody's businesses, everybody's lives have got upheaved, and we're having to completely transform the way in which we do things. Or we certainly have. I know a lot of loads and loads of business owners, employed people, everybody's having to change the way that they're living. And what we've formed through life is this unfortunate way at the moment of societal ideals, and the fact that we have been given this sort of brainwashed phenomena where we are thinking we have to have things in order to be better. And the concept of aparigraha, the concept of yoga, is less is more. Okay, so you've obviously heard that loads and loads of times before, but I'll just go into it a little bit deeper. So, for example, in this time where society has been sort of shunned of all its regular life, where going out to pubs and having things and having the latest mobile and the newest car and the best picture on Instagram, the latest video, the most, I don't know, all the things that we think we should have in the material world, now is sort of, I mean, look at us here. We're in the studio. We've made it in a bloody garage. We're in someone's garage here. We'll show you. It's a garage of wood.
So this is the workshop, actually, and this is our makeshift backdrop that we've done. So, yeah, get creative.
Yeah, so what's happened in the world is we've become so materialistically involved that we've counted our happiness on what we've got. And when we don't have that next thing, our happiness becomes dependent on that. And that's what society has decided to give us as a brainwashed technique. It's a marketing ploy. If we don't have that, if we don't have that, if we don't have that, if we don't have that body, if we don't have that freaking fucking stupid car, yeah, if we don't have these things, all these things from the swipe of a coronavirus can be taken away from us like that, because they don't mean anything, because they aren't anything. They're exterior concepts that keep us unhappy. And the more we have of these things, the more we grasp these things, the less happy we become. because we can never attain everything in the exterior world. We can always attain everything in the interior world, which is from within. So this is the concept of aparigraha. It doesn't mean to say go sell all your shit. It doesn't mean to go say you're greedy for wanting to have some nice things. That's not what this is about. It's about not becoming attached to those things. Yeah, so I might like this cup. Great, I might have bought this cup. Yeah, but I'm not going to get really precious about it if I drop it and smash it, which I'm constantly doing. Okay, that doesn't mean to say I'm not going to look after it, because I value the things that I take, because I don't want to constantly take and add to landfill and consumerism. But what it does mean is if somebody wants to have my cup, I might want to give them my cup because I'm not precious about it. So that's what aparigraha is about. It's about allowing yourself the freedom to let go of material things and not let them define you as a person. So, you know, right now, there's a lot of things that I've had to let go of. For example, maybe, I mean, these are not material things, but subscriptions.
We just culled about 15 things yesterday. And this was before the self-employment thing was announced yesterday. I'm still trying to get my head around that, as a lot of people probably are. What's going on there? But we did yesterday. We culled all the stuff we don't need, and it needs to be done in these times. And
it's that process of letting go, which is what aparigraha is about. So it's not just about material things like exterior concepts, physical forms. It's also about emotions and unphysical forms of things and people. We can get attached to people. We can get attached to our thoughts. So, for example, anger might be something that I have as an emotion that I want to let go of. And if you've got an attachment to anger and you think, that's mine, I'm keeping it. Yeah, as strange as it sounds, we start to use these things as defining what we are. I'm an angry person. Yeah, she's a whatever sort of person. Yet we form these attachments to things that make us unhappy. And the minute we realize we can actually let go of these things, this is our choice, whether it's a freaking car, whether it's an emotion, whether it's something we no longer want to bring with us. This is the concept of aparigraha, how it is letting go, surrendering to something that no longer serves you, and knowing that actual things on the exterior world mean nothing. They're not going to come to the grave with you.
I think it's important to say as well, we often do this. We often say, I am depressed, or I am happy. You're in a present moment there. So you're not. So a lot of people might think they're really down now, they've lost it. Oh, I'm depressed. It is like seeing a rain cloud over you. It's raining. It will pass. It's not on a forever basis that you are depressed. So in a better statement, it would be, my friends suffering from depression, because it's not I am depressed. We're so easy to stigmatize.
Yeah, we attach ourselves to things. So we attach ourselves to an emotion or a physical thing. This is the practice of aparigraha, is letting go of the attachment you feel towards a specific thing.
And I think this is really current right now, because there'll be a lot of people who'll be shot to bits right in the head right now. It'll be like a fairground going on acid. Lots of emotions will be up there, and it is rightly so. We're left in limbo, a lot of us here. But you've got to remember that rain cloud will pass. It'll go, and we've got to create communities. Communities are key right now in all this situation. Just help the vulnerable, help the older, help your neighbour, love thy neighbour. Almost, it's maybe going back to the real simple, back to basics techniques we need to learn. And I think Mother Earth has maybe we're on the naughty step right now. Maybe this is a lesson. We've been bad, and maybe, just maybe, we need to rekindle what we're here for. We've lost sight of it almost.
And the last thing I really want to talk about in this aparigraha is aparigraha and how this relates to being on the yoga mat. So if you're a yoga practitioner, you might, and maybe you haven't done yoga teacher training or anything like this, but you practice yoga, let's say. And how does this concept of non-greed relate to our physical yoga postures? And this is a really important thing. This is what I've practiced for a long time. It's one of my main practices of yoga. And this is the way that I want to describe it. So when you're on your yoga mat, I'm going to describe it for people who practice yoga, and I'm going to be describing it for people who I would love to start joining yoga like a beginner. So when you're on your yoga mat and you're a yoga practitioner, how can you practice aparigraha, non-greed, non-possessiveness, non-grasping on the mat? Okay, so we've all been on the mat as a yoga practitioner. I can hold my hand up to it now. I'm absolutely not afraid of it. And I've wanted to go, oh, bloody hell, I want to make sure I can get into this really jazzy arm balance. And you're dying to get into it. You're grasping for it. It's like, give me this Pinchamaranasana. I need that pose. I want it in my bag of poses like a badge. Yeah, on my brownie yoga badge strap thing that you have. Yeah, that's not yoga. But it is the journey of yoga. So there's nothing wrong with having these thoughts. These thoughts are normal thoughts to have. Yeah. But the practice of aparigraha is trying to let go of these thoughts. So, for example, we've got all these poses in yoga. These poses are here to challenge our perceptions of our own psyche. So when I'm coming into my pose and I'm coming into moving into a challenging posture, if I'm moving into that posture with the fear of wanting it and grasping it and not feeling good enough if I don't get it as a yoga practitioner, I'm not practicing the true essence of yoga. If I'm moving into that pose and I'm falling out of that pose and I don't care that I've fallen out of that pose, and I can sit there and let it go and be gentle with my pet self and say, cool, I've fallen out with yoga, because yoga's a practice. I've tried it. That's where the secret to yoga lies. The secret to you can let go of grasping to poses. So one little story that I liked one time when I was in one of my trainings, somebody came into my class when I was teaching, and it was a class of people, and we were working through an Ashtanga practice, and there was lots of challenging poses and stuff like that. And as we were working through the practice, it was an hour and a half, and one person actually just stood in Tadasana the whole time. This is Tadasana, mountain pose. They just stood there, and everybody else was looking around thinking, like, what the hell are they doing? And they were practicing the art of letting go of what other people thought about them, of what they thought about themselves, of having to go into all these elaborate poses and in an egotistical way. So part of aparigraha, non-greed, non-possessiveness, we practice it on the mat. You come into a pose with the knowing that, great, I've challenged myself, I've worked into this pose because I've allowed myself to let go of the fear of not becoming into that pose. And I tell you, when you let go of what you think other people think about you in that pose, in your yoga class, yeah, what you think about yourself for not being able to do it, yeah, when you let go of that, that's when the pose will come, because that's when you allow yourself to go with the flow of life, and that's when life works for you. That's when yoga works for you. And I just want to finally finish with, if you're starting yoga and you haven't started before and you think yoga's got anything to do with being flexible, then I hate to say it, but you're wrong. And that's not a reason to not come to class. Yeah, I think everybody should come to yoga. Yoga's changed my life. Saying you're too unflexible to come to yoga is like saying you're too dirty to take a bath. Yeah, nobody's here for perfection. Perfection's boring. It's boring.
Just to pick up on that as well, in general, like, end goals are almost, I mean, Tyson Fury did it, didn't he? Become a world champion and then turned to cocaine, drugs, partying, and had a mental health crisis. That's because he reached his end goal. But the journey is the fun part. The end of the end of the road, when you've hit all your goals, then you need to reset again. So enjoy the journey. Yeah. The journey is a part of it. Enjoy falling over on the mat. Enjoy face planting. Enjoy it, because it's part of the journey of the overall goal. Once you get to the goal, what's next? You've got to set another one, and then the fun begins again. You will never be perfect. No one is. The word is not a real word. It's another illusion that we've created, you know.
I mean, I suppose the conclusion to what we're trying to say with this specific, it's a yama, it's a conduct of living, a parigraha, non-greed, non-possessiveness, is don't wait to be perfect to start. Look at this fucking setting that we're in. Do you know what I mean?
We've had crazy numbers. We've
imperfect setting, but just start. And this is why I want to give you a setting like this that's boxed off in a little garage, because I want to show that you don't have to have a certain body. You don't have to have fucking sweaty Betty leggings. You don't have to have any exercise, movement, or mindfulness experience to get. You don't even need a yoga mat. Just sit with yourself and breathe and allow your body to move like nature has given you. Nature's given you everything you need. You don't have to be or grasp for anything else yourself to be and do yoga.
So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this little chat. They're a new concept for us. Again, we've never done this. So I hope the microphone's okay. I'm going to listen back. We're going to keep trying to make improvements for you guys on a weekly basis. Our aim now is to give you content and release boredom and anxiety and fear. We just want to be a platform where you can come, get on your mat, get on your floor, get on your carpet, whatever you've got to get on it. Because at 2 hours a day, you can de-stress and forget what's going on out there. So
just share it, because I've had a lot of messages from people saying thank you because my anxiety is through the roof, or I'm finding this really challenging. And these sorts of people is who I want to spread this to, because I've suffered with terrible, crippling anxiety all my life. And the practice of yoga has put that at bay for me. And I'm trying to give back what yoga and its great teachers have given to me. So this is my time to want to give something back. I've studied it for a long time. I'm always studying it. I'm always a beginner to this practice. And I just want to give what I know. And there's always more to know, but I'm just trying to give what I know. And maybe some other yoga teachers want to come in on this little series that we're doing.
Yeah.
If anyone does, just give us a little buzz and you've got something good to talk about. And even
again, we're going to be upgrading as well next week. I've looked into it, and we're going to be trying to make these videos sharper, better sound, better visual, and they're just going to keep progressing. But if you're waiting, maybe you've got an instrument and you can play an instrument, and maybe someone else has got an instrument and they've never picked it up. If you can deliver a class online, do it. If you can, any of your education and what you've got now, give it to others, because people need it now more than ever. You're your own channel. You're the person that can do it. Don't sit back and think, oh, I wish I could do that. Just do it. Just do it.
As self-employed people, don't wait around for the government to give us money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
to that's why we're self-employed, because we're out there to try and do it ourselves. Yeah. We didn't want to be part of the rat race. So get out there and do it. Try and do it yourself. Lastly, I'm going to put an article onto our website about this specific subject. So if it's something that you struggle with, it's a good maybe article to read.
Yeah,
and all of my classes next week, from Monday to Friday, there'll be the same classes, your Ashtanga, your Vinyasa, tune into which you like. If you want a timetable, we'll send it out. But they're all going to be focused around this specific subject, okay? A parigraha and letting go.
Yeah, and on the website will be coming hopefully Monday. We've got moving with that as well. So any articles, all these things will be on the website. So just go on there. Again, it's a pay as you feel, guys. We're totally more than understanding if you can't contribute. If you can, we're so grateful as well in these times. But do not feel any pressure at all.
They are free for everybody.
We are here for vibes. Can you feel them vibes? That's what we're here for.
It is free.
Okay.
To stress that all these videos are free.
And I need the toilet, so I'm in a rush. So
cheers, guys. Have a good weekend. I'll see you Sunday.
Live Q&A tomorrow morning. We just want to see what you guys are wanting. So tomorrow morning, if you're bored and you want to come on, we'll be talking to you live. We'll be interacting with you. We'll actually be answering your messages. You type them out, we'll answer them back.
Just to see what sort of content you want pushing out, and we'll try and do what we can.
This is a platform for you guys, no one else, so whatever you want, we'll try to deliver it, and that's it. So yeah, from the comfort of your own home as well. So take care.
Cheers, guys. See ya.
Weekend. Peace out. If I can end it, where is it? Here we go.
I've got hiccups.